also going into profit. There's been talks recently in the news that the Browns, owned by the Haslam family, is going to be looking to build a new stadium where the current stadium resides. And with that, especially with budget week in these past 2 weeks, we learned a lot about what Clevelanders pay for in terms of Brown Stadium, and then what the Browns pay for. So currently, the city and all the taxpayers pay $10 million a year to have the Brown Stadium. The Browns pay $250,000 a year as their rent or lease. A pretty great deal in the current market. In that same contract that currently goes through 2028, the city of Cleveland has on in the books that they're mandatory allowed to allot at least $2 million each year for repairs in the Brown Stadium. This last year, it turned out to be $4 million, and the city, you, the taxpayers, covered it. Within that budget, in that agreement, certain council people and lawmakers wanted to understand, okay, so the city pays $10 million, the Browns pay $250,000. The Browns obviously offer a lot of emotional and significance importance into the city. Recently, it hasn't been positive emotional intelligence, but it is a part of the fabric of this community and of this area. We wanted to learn, as well as what they give emotionally, what financially do the Browns provide being at First Energy Stadium to the city of Cleveland and the surrounding county? But they couldn't legally figure that out. Something called a confidential taxpayer information said that to tally the return on investment, it was not legally allowed to be public knowledge if the city makes money by having the Browns here or how much we lose money by. But what they did learn is the city and the county are losing money by having an NFL franchise here. Now, along with losing games and losing money, that's not necessarily a great deal for the citizens. And it hasn't been, because the city has faced a similar situation a couple decades ago and has lost from that as well. According to famed local journalist Raldo Bartimole, apologies if I mispronounced, he was a major reporter in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even I believe through the 90s, and covered when Mike White was the current mayor of Cleveland. To make sure that the Browns stayed in Cleveland, offered them no property taxes. They didn't have to pay property taxes on their lease while the agreement was in place. He went down to the State House to make sure that could happen, and it was put into play. Since that time, the city of Cleveland, its services, CMSD, and everyone in the district, in the city, has lost out on $500 million because of that one deal. Now, currently, the Hasms are worth around $4.8 billion. That is documented, which is exactly twice the worth of the city of Cleveland. The proposal is leaning towards a $500 million to $1 billion renovation. The deal hasn't been made yet. It's only in its early talks. But so far, with the Browns, they've left, come back, skirted on $500 million of payments to their fans who dedicate every Sunday and every waking moment thinking about them and wanting them to succeed, and now won't even allow you to see that it's a losing investment to have such a well paid for and well attended stadium and franchise to be losing money. Now, what's the solution? I'm running for a federal office. So what the city, with the county, with the deal that they make with the Haslams, that is not in the purview of the job. But what is the federal level. So in Europe, where they have their own football, soccer teams, those are all community owned. So there's never a worry about if this team is going to leave because it is owned by the city and the area that they are in. That currently is not allowed in American sports, not because of a federal law, but because the different leagues, NFL, NBA, NHL, and the other major leagues in this country do not allow for a city, state, or county to own the franchise. Of course, there's going to be problems with a city, state, or county owning a franchise as well. But one thing that we can all avoid in that situation is the worry that a billionaire owner will take the team and leave if the city doesn't pay for their new renovated stadium or doesn't meet them halfway in that way. We constantly have to live in fear of what the Hasms will decide. So not only have they brought in someone who has been known to have 20 different instances of women stating that they were sexually harassed by them and forcing the city to cheer for that person, they are now potentially putting us in a situation to either pay up or have the threat of leaving the city. That is a lot of choice for and a lot of pressure on the city and local area. But it's something that can be better tackled and out of the worries of the people at the federal level. That way, when you're cheering for the Browns, you don't have to worry about if they're going to leave next year, where they're going to be, or even have to pull out your own pocketbook just to make sure that they can stay. You can focus on winning, winning the championship in that next level, which is coming to the city. So, what's next for us in the campaign? We will be this Wednesday at the Old Stone Church. It's 91 Public Square in downtown Cleveland from 5:30 to 7 for the Riverfront Master Plan discussion. Now, there are talks about if Burke Lakefront Airport is taken in by the city and made into a park, similar to how Chicago has Millennium Park, they are creating a master plan for the area that so far seems to be largely funded by uh, the billionaires in this area, whether it's the Haslams or the current Cavs owner, Dan Gilbert. We need to ensure that we don't put the cart before the horse and that we cover the basics for the people in this area through lowering child poverty and making sure that you can enjoy your favorite sports team without having to pay an arm and leg to keep it here. Thank you.